So the next item on the agenda is to have our first panel for today to discuss with us holistic wellness unleashed, as that's nurturing your spirit, your body, your soul. So to lead us in this, our first panelist is Funmi Ayowale. And Funmi is the founder of Soul Clinic and a mental health expert. Please join me as we welcome Funmi Ayowale onto the stage, please. And then also we're going to have Tanisha Wilson. Tanisha Wilson is a beauty expert, a makeup artist, educator, and also a beauty content creator. So round of applause for Tanisha Wilson, please. And last but not the least, we have Sharana Ali. Sharana Ali is a wellness coach and an entrepreneur. So please join me as we welcome Sharana, please. Please have a seat. So just get the mic and have a seat here. Sharana can be here. And I'm going to be moderating this panel. So round of applause for me too, Tolu. Yay! Thank you. Okay, so as we all know, there's always a lot of talk about wellness, mental well-being, and that's why I said this is something that's very close to my heart. So I'm going to be asking us a few questions. I'm going to try to make this really brief. And I'm going to be directing the questions to each and every one of you. So it's not, I'll be specific, like if I want Sharana to answer a question, I'll say Sharana. If I want, Funmi to answer a question, I'll say Funmi. So my first question really is for Funmi. So Funmi, my question is about mindfulness and stress management. So we all know that mindfulness plays a crucial role in our wellness, of our wellness. How do you incorporate mindfulness practices into your daily routine, especially in a high stress situation? Not just like, how do you do that? What do you do when you're juggling 10 million things together? How do you incorporate that into your daily routine? And
hi, and
so yeah, sorry guys, you can just speak up.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear?
No.
Hi.
Yeah.
I think this is better. Okay. Hello, and thank you very, very much for having me, and thank you for the question. How would I incorporate mindfulness routines in my everyday life, especially in a stressful situation? The very first thing I would say is I would have built a foundation of high self-awareness. So just like a house, you don't start to build a house when it's raining. You would have built it from the ground up with the right foundation in a more calm situation, right? With the right weather and the right season, right? So it's the same way. First of all, I'd love to encourage everybody that's listening that your house, your emotional health or wellness house would be self-awareness. I really believe that that's the foundation for any and everybody. You need to be able to know what's going on with you, and you need to understand your triggers. You need to know when you're doing well, when you're not doing well. And if you observe yourself closely, you will know the signs. So in a high stress situation, when it's like it's raining, it's pouring, and it's an emergency, you would know the signs. You would know, okay, so I'm not really doing well right now. What can I do that perhaps I have been practicing a while before in order to now practice it? So to come to your question, what I normally would do is I would center myself. I would ground myself. I would practice, if I can, and if I can remember them, some of my breathing exercises. I would go back to my why, because if I'm in a high stress situation, then it means that whatever I'm involved in is important to me. So if that thing or that situation is important to me, maybe it's about family or it's about my work, then I would go back to why am I in this in the first place? And then finally, I would focus on the things that I can control. We know the serenity prayer, but the important part of it is focus on the things within the locus of your control, not other people's reactions, not other people's actions or what they would say, but what you can do within yourself and in your immediate circle. So I think those are the three basic things.
Hello. Thank you very much for that, Funmi. I like that one about what you can control, because I think what really stresses us out is the fact that we're trying to control the things we can't control, and that just bothers. So I think that's really powerful about what you can control. And and you said something really important about going back to what you've built before, because some of us probably are just rolling with the punches, where it's about being intentional to build something like a cushion around you to go, how do I realize, oh, how do I know that I'm getting stressed? What are the red flags? Rather than just going through until you actually break down. So thank you for sharing that. That's very powerful. Thank you. My next question is for Tanisha. And my question is about beauty rituals and mental well-being. So we all know that rituals can be both soothing and contribute to beauty. What beauty rituals do you incorporate into your routine that also promotes mental well-being?
Thank you. Morning, everyone. So what rituals do I incorporate, right, that will help to facilitate mental wellness? And one of the main rituals for me is skincare, okay? The thing about beauty, and we're talking about it from a holistic perspective, is it is not just an outside thing. Skincare is not just about using great skincare products. It's about also understanding what it is that we're doing to our bodies. So one of the things I try to pay attention to is, what do I need to ensure that what's going to show up on the outside is going to satisfy what I consider beautiful to me. And one of my rituals is skincare. I do pay attention to what's happening. Some of you may realize sometimes when you're in high stress situations that you may have breakouts. Breakouts is not just about the topical things. It's not just about what you're using on your skin. Sometimes it's about the stressor that we have going on. And it's sometimes about the things that we're taking in, the things that we're eating, and as well as the environment. So that's a huge part of my ritual, is paying attention to what I'm consuming and what I'm doing to my skin. What the result is on the outside helps me to feel good, feel more beautiful. And that therefore, it helps me to fulfill what I'm looking for in the way of beauty.
Thank you very much. So again, I think what stood out for me, what you just said, is about the fact that it's not just about the product, but it's about, again, tying into the why, as in just focusing more about why I'm doing this. And my beauty is not just about the surface, but it comes from within, and what I get from within, from paying attention to how I look in terms of my skin, whether it is I'm breaking out, what is causing me to break out. And then that's like an indicator into how I'm feeling inside. They're very smart people. Anyway, thank you very much. So my next question is for Sharana. And Sharana, my question to you is about holistic wellness in professional life. So balancing holistic wellness in a professional setting can be challenging. We all know that. If there's anyone here, whether you're working as in professional work or you're just a mom or a wife or a sister, you know that it's a lot to just balance, everything with, being a woman. So my question is, how do you integrate holistic practices in your work life? And what advice do you have for women striving for an harmonious work-life balance?
This is a juicy question. I like it. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on this panel today. I'm absolutely honored to sit amongst these women, first of all. And the first word that honestly comes to mind through this question is grace. Like, give yourself grace. If you are able to complete 5 things today to feed into your wellness and your well-being and rooting into yourself, amazing. If that means tomorrow you get to do 1, fantastic. Allow yourself that grace and that forgiveness, because you know what? I love how you said to create that balance, right? Because that really is what it is. And sometimes, and I think especially as women, one of the things we have to root into, or we get to root into, is balance doesn't always mean 50-50. It could mean 80-20. It could mean 60-40. That's okay. No 2 days have to look the exact same, or should, for that matter of fact. Particularly in the professional world. Just a little background about myself. I used to work in a very policy-driven, high-stress, high-profile environment. And I will be completely frank with everyone here and say, self-care was not at the top of the list at all. Are you kidding me? So I used to work for the Ontario government. When the minister is calling you and looking for answers, I'm sorry. Like, my 8 hours of sleep, not really a factor. But I also know that for my longevity, for my well-being, for my happiness, and again, like these ladies really mentioned, to root into my why and, continue being who I want to be as an individual, I also know that sometimes you have to say no to say yes to yourself. And that's one of the things that I really, really stepped into, particularly professionally. And I keep saying, or, I really allude to the fact that, especially as women, I feel like we have to continue, or we continuously look to overperform within ourselves and say like, yes, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. There's no harm in saying, I got this to myself. And that's one of the things that I really want to drive home today more than anything else, right? If one, that balance doesn't have to be 50-50, 100%. And some of the tools that I personally use, especially in a professional environment, take your breaks, women. You get a lunch hour for a reason. Take them. They're not to fit in those additional meetings or to run errands. They are for you to sit and ground yourself. Go outside. And it's simple things, right? It really is. Intentionally getting in the sun, intentionally taking deep breaths, right? Intentionally working through, your breath work, right? If at the end of the day you have that time to do your skincare, fantastic. Do it, but also celebrate the fact that you're doing it today. That really is, for me at least, how I really advocate for creating that balance.
Thank you so much, Sharana. And that lunch break, if you're guilty, can I see your hands up? I knew it. Very guilty. Michelle, guilty. So thank you for just reminding us about looking out for ourselves. And it's so funny how you said, take the walk, because you're thinking, that walk, I can actually do these 5 things. But then even when you don't take the walk, you're still going to have that 10 million things to do. So again, I think it's about I think one thing you all said today is you have to, it's not just going to happen. You have to be intentional about it. You have to be conscious of it. You have to make time and create that opportunity for yourself. And you said grace, and that's beautiful. Like, just give yourself that grace, like, I'm owning it. Yeah, I'm owning it. I'm just going to be me and leave me. So thank you so much. But before I run out the panel, I'm going to go to the audience. And this part is to ask anyone, does anybody have any question or any contribution that they want to, is there anything that you feel you want to ask? Or is there anything you feel is sort of bugging you and you want the panel to sort of cast an eye or say something about in the audience? Is there any question from anyone? No pressure. You can whisper it. So the ladies in pink can come to you, and you don't have to come on stage. Okay. So we have someone there. Okay. Just gonna
But anxiety in the workplace.
Who would like to take that? She wants someone to talk about anxiety in the workplace. Did you say in the workplace or just generally? Yeah.
I can.
Okay, generally. Anxiety generally. Thank you very much. So we didn't get your name? Paulette. Thank you, Paulette.
Okay. So I'm going to attempt to answer that question because I have experienced anxiety in the workplace, for real. On a personal level, there have been times when I go into the bathroom and I cry because, I just couldn't take it. It's too much. Sometimes anxiety in the workplace doesn't even just happen only in the workplace. You can dream about your tasks and your undone stuff. You wake up in the morning and it's like it's a never-ending pile of pressure. In the workplace, I would say that you have to come up, or we all believe and have the impression that you have to come with your 100%. You have to show up with your perfect game. But sometimes you can also be human. She just spoke about taking your lunch breaks. Hey, if you're experiencing anxiety, please take your lunch breaks and take every break that you can get. Remember that with anxiety, they are actually just, I don't want to diminish the medical, the medical existence of an anxiety disorder. but it is rooted in piling up your worries and being extremely concerned about the things that you really cannot control. So as much as you can, stay within the focus of what you can. So if it's in the workplace, maybe there are tasks that you can achieve. Maybe there are things that you can do, people you can come in contact with. Maybe there's a community that you can leverage of your mentor or your sponsor or your line manager. Maybe you can delegate up or delegate down. So take advantage of those things, and also come in with a positive mindset that you can do this, you got this. Really, if you were not qualified, you would not be hired. You're there because you're supposed to be there in that workplace. So feel that power to fulfill the reason for which you are there, and please talk to someone. That's another very thing I would say to you, that if you're experiencing a high dose of anxiety in the workplace, take advantage. There are all these resources, within your workplace and outside of your workplace. You can see a therapist, you can see a coach, you can see a counselor. Also, we have work wives. Have you ever done, you know what the term I mean, work wives? That just means your buddy, a person in the office, someone that has got your back, someone that maybe you guys don't work closely together, but you have a vibe, you have a thing. So you can take that lunch break with your, okay, maybe not wife, maybe not your work wife, but your work buddy, okay? So you can take that lunch break with her or him, and you can just de-stress as much as you can. Please take it one day at a time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, please feel free. Yeah.
I just want to add something, Paulette. Anxiety is so broad, and I'm not a counselor or any of the sort, but I am a person who has dealt with anxiety. And whether it be in the workplace or at home or whatever the situation, I think what it is mindfulness practices are key to overcoming anxiety in a situation. And for me, what that means is finding out how I can find calm within myself. So all the things that Funmi said are great, okay? But sometimes in the midst of that anxious feeling, you forget that. And what I find that works for me is knowing what I need to create calm within. And it may be taking a moment of deep breathing right at your desk, because anxiety is something that you feel. And sometimes it's not a present situation that you're necessarily going through, that you feel it, but it's just a subconscious thought of even having to be there. And so even taking, 30 seconds, 1 minute at your desk and really deep breathing practices, what really helps me and that creates calm for me is music. You may not be able to play music at your desk. I don't know what the work environment is. I don't know if you're able to have headphones, but that would be something else that I would do. And I'm speaking again from a personal place. So knowing yourself and really taking a step to think, when is it that I am most calm? When I'm feeling anxious, how do I overcome that anxiety? What are the things that I'm doing that's making me feel better in the moment? Because along with piling the issues together, a lot of times we are anxious about thoughts, about the things that have not even happened yet, right? It's overthinking matters that, yes, we can't control, but a lot of it is things that we've told ourselves, the things that could happen if, and they haven't happened yet. So trying to change your thought process by just clearing it. So take a moment for yourself. It doesn't have to be the whole 15-minute break or the hour lunch. You still got an hour? I don't know. I've been self-employed for 20 odd years. So you just take personal time, stay within. And I would encourage you to start listening to things that may teach you more of those mindfulness practices. Not everyone believes in meditation. I'm a firm believer. Sometimes it's against, maybe your religious or spiritual beliefs. But if it's not, consider it and start with a minute, because it's not easy to quiet the mind, but anxiety is in the mind. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much, Anisha. Thank you.
Yeah, I just, by a show of hands, because I noticed quite a difference in myself. How many folks in the room are entrepreneurs or self-employed? Beautiful. And the reason that I ask that is speaking to anxiety in particular, when I made the shift to entrepreneurship, I actually personally felt a lot more anxiety. Because, and I previously talked about taking your lunch hour, taking those breaks. That doesn't happen unless I make my lunch hour, especially as an entrepreneur, right? So one of the things that I've, allowed myself to adapt to, and I know there's a lot of fluff around it and a lot of not so good feelings, but I really have adapted a morning routine that I love. And when I say a morning routine, I'm not spending hours like journaling my heart out, meditating, standing upside down. No, I'm literally taking like 5 minutes to breathe deeply, right? To really tap into how I want the day to look and to feel. And for me, that does ground me, right? It does remind me like, okay, you are here for a purpose. You're here on a mission. That in those 5 minutes, the minute I like start thinking of that to-do list, and let's call it what it is, I honestly have worked towards like desensitizing myself from that for those 5 minutes in particular, because I know that I will get to that. But these 5 minutes are dedicated to myself, and that has really, really made a huge difference. In the work environment, one of the things, and we spoke about it, if you can tap into a community to have conversation, because I can pretty much guarantee if you are feeling a sense of anxiety, your neighbor next to you probably is as well. Right? So come into community, especially as us as women, let's lean on each other, right? And lean on each other in a limitless capacity without shame, without worry, because I guarantee even though, and I always say this, even though we haven't walked the same path in life, I guarantee we've all felt very similar emotions. And that really is what we get to root into.
Thank you very much, Joanna. So this brings us to the end of this session. Can we please have a round of applause again for our panelists?